Hello everyone and welcome to 5.0 Windows and Doors. Today we're going to be adding our windows and doors here in the first floor plan. So I'm going to go ahead and quick navigate to border number 1. So I'm going to hit V, enter, 1, enter. Now I'm here in border number 1. First thing I want to do is I'm going to go to the editing tools. So I'm going to go to the structure drop down menu, editing, and I'm going to look for a command called member break, which is this one right here, MB member break. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you how to break a panel. And to do this, let's hit escape a couple times. I'm going to go ahead and delete this panel that I've made here. I'm going to extend this panel here. Just to purposely have an incorrectly placed panel. I can do that using member extend. You don't have to do this, but I just want to show it to you. Member extend. Oops. Member extend. I'm going to select this entity, and then I'm going to select the entity to extend. Alright, so let's say I have a full panel here, a full non-load bearing wall, and I've made this mistake, right? I actually don't need it to be one single panel, but instead two smaller panels. I can use the command called member break. Structure, edit, member break. I'm going to select the first location to break. So I'm going to want to snap somewhere here, you know, maybe a near point or a midpoint. So I want to make sure that the correct entity snap settings are on. So if I right click here, nearest snap, right now I can snap to any one of these near edges. So I'm going to snap right here. It doesn't really matter exactly where I cut. So I'm going to snap here, and then the second location I can snap to another near right here. Make sure it's on. Sometimes structure will turn the entity snap settings off, which is a little annoying. It happens during commands for some weird reason, but just make sure you right click over here and make sure it's on. Now go ahead and click here. Okay, and then it's going to say select side to delete or right click to break only. So I'm just going to right click, and now you can see this little line here. What's happened is now instead of one panel I have two panels. So I just performed a member break to break this panel into two panels. And then the next thing I can do from here is I can use another command here in the structure, edit, member fillet. So what a fillet is in most CAD programs is the connection between two walls or two lines are usually 90 degrees unless told otherwise. So here where I have this panel extending past this panel here, using the member fillet command, I can say click here, and create a corner condition where this panel is no longer going all the way over here, but rather it's stopping right over here. So let's do that. Select entity to fillet for long direction. I'm going to say this guy right here. Select other entity to fillet. I'm going to click this one right here. Now this one has been shortened. It is now coming all the way up to here, and then this wall is butting up against it. So with that, I can go ahead and repeat that command. I can reissue it by either right clicking, hitting enter, or spacebar. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. I'm going to do that again here, and then here, and now that's all cleaned up again. Okay, so those are a couple of really good commands to know of. Now it's time for us to add openings to our exterior and interior walls based on our architectural drawings. Typically the dimensions that define these openings will need to be the rough widths and rough heights versus using finished opening sizes. So we're going to make sure to quick navigate to border number 1, V, enter, 1, enter. Make sure that your first floor block is visible by turning on that temporary layer, LT1. Mine is visible, but I can type in LT1 to turn it off and turn it back on again. I'm just hitting the space bar to reissue that last command, which is LT1, and LT1 will allow me to show or hide that temporary layer. I want to show it so that I can reference it. Let's start with the south wall of bedroom number 2. We're going to add a window that is 6 foot by 5 foot 10. So 6 foot. So typically an architectural plan will display the dimensions of the openings as width and height. But in this FrameCAD made architectural plan, the dimensions are swapped. So we actually have heights and widths. So the height of this window is 6 feet, whereas the width of this window is 5 foot 10. We're going to initiate the user-defined window command, UW, or here in the structure drop-down menu, under, let's see, a structure, miscellaneous dimensions. So structure, panels and walls, layout, UW, user-defined window. Go ahead and click on that. Okay, here in the command line it reads SES for setup, H for head location, or enter opening height, and in brackets it says 3 feet. So this is going to be a window that has a 6 foot height. So first of all, I'm going to type in H for head location, and the headers in all of the first floor are going to be at 7 feet. Okay, this is where the top of the windows and top of the doors are, 7 feet up in the air. I'm going to hit enter, and then the opening height is going to be 6 feet. So I'm going to just type in 6 feet, and then the opening width is going to be 5 foot 10 inches. Okay. Now with all that input, here in the command line it says hide value, auto center multiple PO or point offset, point or site, or select start point for opening. What does this all mean? Well, these are all of the different ways that I can initiate this user window. I'm going to use center as my way of defining where that window location is. Notice here in the brackets, the letter C is there. So all of these capital letters here represent their keyboard shortcut within this command. So if I were to type in H, it would be for hide, V for value, A for auto, C for center, M for multiple, PO for point offset, P for point or side, or select start point for opening. So I'm going to keep it at C for center. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to define the end of this window and then the end of this window here. And what it'll do is it'll center my 6 foot tall, 5 foot 10 inch wide window opening based upon the 2 points that I just clicked. So if I click here and I click here, it will center that opening in that exact spot. Okay, so now with that in mind, I can keep going around and continuing to add all of my other window openings. The drawing that I'm using to reference all of the opening sizes and even the walls here can be found in this 2-story house CAD drawings PDF. If you go ahead and click that, go ahead and download it, save it somewhere where you can find it again later. Here is that file. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this and open it up here in Adobe Acrobat. And this has got all of my window sizes defined as height and then width. So 6 foot height, 5 foot 10 width. What I want you to notice in this drawing is any common opening sizes. This is 6 foot by 5'10", so is this one here, so is this one here. Okay, and these are 6 foot 6 foot by 2 foot 11, 6 foot 2 11, 6 foot 2 11, 6 foot 2 11. Pay attention to a lot of those common sizes, because you can use that to your advantage and be most efficient when adding your openings. For example, if I head back to FrameCAD Structure, right, I've got my new window here. Notice in the command line, the command is still active. It's still using the same exact parameters and values that I had chosen for this window here. And with the information that I just saw, I can see that this window is of the same size. So with C or center still selected, I can click on this endpoint and then this endpoint to add another window of that same exact size. Let's go back and check this PDF. Looks like I got one more over here. So I'm going to zoom out, I'm going to pan, I'm going to zoom in, click once, click twice, and it'll add an opening right there. I can now end this command. I'm going to hit enter, hit escape, escape. Okay, that ends the command. And now I can repeat that command. Now without even finding the command through the structure drop-down menu or typing in UW, I can just hit enter to reinitiate that same command that I just used last time. However, now I can change some of the values. So if I go back, let's choose to do these four here. These are 6 foot by 211. I'm going to go back. I'm not going to change my head location, but I'm going to change my opening height. Actually, I'm not going to change my opening height. So I'm going to hit enter to leave this 6 foot opening height. Now the width I am going to change to 2 foot 11 inches. Enter. And then using center, I'm going to click here, there. I'll click here, and there, and here, there, here, there, and I'm going to check to see if I need any more. All right. So look for those common points of opening sizes so that way you can be most efficient. The same thing is going to happen for all of our doors. So if I hit enter and then escape 2 times, I can hit spacebar, right click, or enter to reinitiate the user window command. Actually, let's use the user door command. I'm going to go to structure, I'm going to go to panels, layout, UD for user defined door. The opening height should be 7 feet. So if I look at this door right here, 7 foot by 2 foot 8. So I'm going to keep the opening height at 7 foot, and then the width I'm going to change to 2 foot 8. I'm going to use C for center, and I'm going to come in here, and click there, and there we go. Now I've got a door. Okay, same thing as using the user window command, except this is for doors. The difference is that a door has a header height, and the height of the door is also the header height. Whereas with a window, that's not necessarily true. I might have a 6 foot tall window, but the header height is at 7 foot. That's the window, the top of the window is at 7 foot up in the air, which leaves a 1 foot sill down below. So with this information, continue to add all of your openings for your windows and your doors, and then we'll come back and do our integrity check. So I'm going to skip forward. All right, I just got finished adding all my windows and doors. Here they are on the first floor plan. I'm not worried about the second floor plan, just the first floor plan. Now I'm going to show you how to run an integrity check on the project. Integrity checks highlight any drafting mistakes we may have made, such as walls exceeding the maximum length that we had set earlier in the project. This command is your best friend in eliminating errors and creating a functional design. It's recommended that you run an integrity check several times on each job. The settings for integrity check can be found in the panel setup dialog box. In the command, initiate the pset command, pset. Alternatively, you can find it under structure settings, pset panel settings. And we're going to look for integrity check options. These are all of the settings that the integrity check will look for in your file. So any here that are set to true, once we run the integrity check, it will check for these items that are marked as true. All the items marked as false, it will not check for those things. So I'm going to go ahead and hit I'm going to go ahead and set this. I'm just going to hit cancel. Now we're going to do integrity check. So under structure, under miscellaneous, IC integrity check. IC is the keyboard shortcut for it, or keyboard alias. And I run that. It says press S for settings or select entities to check, or press enter for entire view. Since I am in border number 1, I have quick navigated to border number 1. I can just hit enter. And what you're going to see is a bunch of little asterisks or symbols pop up in various locations, all of various colors. So here in this dialog box, it says warning only, 4 walls found over maximum length. Warning only, 27 walls found not labeled. Okay, so based on our integrity check settings in our panel settings, here's what it's returning. Okay, now if I had set everything to true, let's go back to pset and integrity check options. You can set all of these to true. Let's do select all and select them all to true. And hit save. So what I'm going to be asking for is basically, I'm going to run integrity check. I'm going to say check and make sure I have reference points in this drawing. Check and make sure that I have all my panels coded properly, meaning load bearing versus non-load bearing. Make sure my panels are labeled. Make sure that the length shortage is correct. Make sure the overlaps are not occurring. Make sure none of them exceed a maximum panel length, which you would set here in the pset under maximum length of 23 feet. Transport limits, all of these things I'm checking for. So let's hit cancel. I'm going to type in IC for integrity check. I'm going to say enter. And it's going to find all of these items. 4 walls found over maximum length, 27 walls not labeled, 26 walls found with duplicate labels, 4 walls found with no dead loads, found 27 items with no detail sheets. Alright, so the reason why we check for this is because we should be doing these things as we progress through our design. So we're going to go ahead and start fixing a few of these things. I'm going to go hit OK, and then I'm going to go to pset, and now I'm going to change our integrity check options, and I'm really going to focus all of my time on I want my maximum lengths to be true, and I think that's about it. Okay, so let's hit save. Let's run integrity check. Hit enter. So 4 walls have been found over the maximum length, which, if you'll remember, was 23 feet. So for this one, we're not going to fix it, but it's something we should be aware of. 23 feet might be, some sort of office standard. Perhaps we don't have enough space in front of our FrameCAD machine to exceed lengths over 23 feet. Perhaps this is based on our transportation needs. Perhaps we don't have a big flatbed truck that can handle lengths over 23 feet. So that number we can change at any time and then run integrity check to check for those lengths. So right now, most of the walls are fine except for the 4 exterior walls. Let's go ahead and let's do our labeling. I'm going to do pset again. I'm going to go to integrity check. I'm going to do panel labeling, set that to true, hit save. IC for integrity check, this whole entire window. So 27 walls found not labeled. So let's label them. We're going to use the label all command, which you can find under panels and walls, layout, and actually I am mistaken. It is right here. Structure miscellaneous LA for label all. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It says select panels to label or enter for global selection. I'm going to hit enter to globally select all of the walls in this project. And then what you'll notice is these little pieces of text have popped up, okay, usually in the middle of those panels. N8, N6, N10, L2, L1, L4, L3. So all of my load-bearing walls that are red are my exterior walls. They're being labeled with an L. And then all my non-load-bearing or lime green walls are being labeled with an N because they're non-load-bearing. So now, with that in mind, I can run the integrity check again. I'm going to quick navigate right back to border number 1, IC for integrity check, enter. And now I'm not getting that warning that I have 27 walls that are not labeled. Okay, the only thing that I have is 4 walls over the maximum length. So that's great. I'm going to go ahead and file. I want you guys to save it. I'm going to go ahead and save it as 6.0 just to prep myself for the next recording and lecture. So I'm going to hit save. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and check our progress in 3D. So I'm going to show you how to export this stuff for 3D. We get to stay in structure. Thankfully, we don't have to navigate to a whole nother software. But to do this, we're going to initiate the P3D panel 3D command. We can do this by either going to structure, down to view, and then P3D. As you can see here within this grouping of commands, we have A3D, which will create 3D geometry for all panels that we have in this project, J3D for joists, P3D for panels, S3D for smart panels, T3D for truss 3D, and so we can update the 3D models of just specific frame types such as trusses and panels and joists, or we can say A3D, all 3D, and just update everything. So I'm going to type in, I'm going to use P3D. Notice the 3 letters here, P3D. So instead, I'm just going to type in P3D here, hit enter. I'm going to hit enter one more time for global selection, and you're going to be taken to this view here. Notice we've just traveled from layouts to model. Okay, while it looks like maybe nothing has happened, okay, except that your floor plan drawing is gone, the labels are all gone. Besides that, it seems like it's the same exact thing we were just looking at. However, it's not. This is a 3D preview of our design. However, it's oriented in such a way that we're looking at it from the top view. Okay, so the trick is use any one of these little highlighted spots on this view cube to reorient yourself to a different angle so you can view the building from a different angle, or use the keyboard shortcut VV, which will take you to the next view in 3D. So I'm going to hit VV. Okay, and boom, there it is. There is my first floor with all the walls and all of the windows. Okay, I can use this view cube to navigate myself around the whole entire project and see it from many angles. I'm just clicking and dragging this view cube. I can navigate to a very specific spot, such as this top left corner, just like that. Okay, I can also change the way this is displayed. You can go to the view drop down menu, visual styles, and choose a different visual style. Let's go ahead and try realistic. So this is what realistic looks like. And that's how you add windows, add doors, and do integrity checks, and create a 3D preview. To get back to where we just were in the 2D world, you're going to click on Layouts. All right, and now you're back where all your borders are. To revisit your 3D model, you're going to go to the Model tab. Okay, if you make any changes here in Layout, let's say I delete N13 completely and off the face of this planet, and you go back to Model, notice that it's still there. Okay, this software will not regenerate a 3D model as you make changes to the project. It will generate it upon your command, and if you want a new update, you will have to request that it do that update. So now if I type in P3D and hit enter, it will first delete all of the 3D model of all the panels, and then if I type in P3D again, or hit space or enter or right click to reinitiate and hit enter, notice now it's given me a brand new, most up-to-date 3D panel view, and now that wall in the center is gone. Okay, so if I want to bring it back, I'm going to go back to Layouts. I'm going to Control Z to undo, Control Z to undo, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. All right, N13 is back. Come back here, and my model is still in the same state it was previously. So if ever you make any changes in layouts, make sure you update the 3D model. And then to update that 3D model, you come to the Model tab, type in P3D. It will erase the old 3D model. Repeat that command, P3D, and it will regenerate a new 3D model based off of any changes. All right, take a good screenshot of this 3D view as well as border number 1 for full points for this assignment. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Thanks.